have a just, oops, I kind of wanted to have a conversation just because I know that we have a lot of new people on the team, but we also have some people that have been here a little bit. And I know for a lot of us, we all have very big goals. Pretty much everyone on this screen, I personally either interviewed with you or I met you after, and I've heard your vision for this business. I know that most of y'all don't just want to go make $400 a month. I know for a lot of y'all have this dream of, hey, being able to have time freedom, being able to make money to where you go to Target, you don't even have to bat an eye. You're just like, I'm good. Or Dorian, I know you might want to go pursue medical field and you don't want to have to worry about money when you're doing that dream. That you have these big dreams. I know, Michael, you're an athlete. You're like, hey, I want to be able to do what I want to do, but I don't want money to be the limit. I want to be able to work as hard as I can work. Rod, you're already like super successful in your own field, but I know you want more. Rod is one of the most successful people on this call, and he wants more. Like Rod, tell everyone what you do for work. Blow the people away.
So I sell exotic cars. So again, anything from Mercedes to, four or $500,000 Ferraris and whatnot. So yeah, it's been pretty rewarding, but just to touch on what Sabina is saying, it's just getting that freedom to, pursue more for dreams, aside of the financial, aside of the time restraint. So yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's people on this call. Christine, I know you go by CC. CC, you're almost a agency owner at State Farm. She was in the process of getting that, owning a whole big company. And she left that because she knows that there's more out there for her. So how do you get into a breakthrough season? And I just wanted to ask who in here has ever felt stuck? It doesn't have to be at Symmetry. It could be just in general. Who has felt stuck? Okay. What was the worst part about feeling stuck? Y'all can unmute if you want.
So I think for me, I know even before I got here, just by being in the industry, I was kind of burnt out, just from being with State Farm for so long after 4 years. That's kind of been my biggest issue is now that I have the opportunity to invest in myself and sell for myself in my own business. Um, I feel like my tank is on E right now. So I'm just trying to figure out how to get that back, how to get that motivation back, how to get back in the swing of things. Um,
Yeah.
that's kind of been my biggest hurdle right now is just very burnt out. Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling burnt out, coming in from a past career and then coming in trying to like get momentum for a new career. That's totally fair.
Yeah.
Rochelle, the question was who in here has ever felt stuck and what's the worst part about feeling stuck? And it could be in anything. So if you have something, you can totally add on. I feel like she does.
For me, I'll go.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
Always
me,
good.
Doran, you can go, and then Rochelle, you go.
okay. I'm sorry. For me, I would say I'm feeling kind of stuck right now. A lot of y'all don't know. I just started getting back into insurance sales. I did it when I was 18, but I didn't take it seriously. And now that I see the potential, what I mean, because I know what I want for myself. I see the potential in it, and I'm currently doing it right now. But I want to say I'm like 2 weeks in, right? I've set 6 appointments and have not made one sale. And I'm usually the type of person, you know, once I get the flow of things or once I understand something, it usually comes to me quick. This is the first time in my life where it's not coming to me quick. It's going to take some time. But I realize though, with discipline and self-control, my time is going to come. So I do feel stuck right now. It's like the same thing. Calls people are picking up. I'm getting conversations, setting the appointments. Nobody's showing up or I'm not closing. And it's like I went from, just going about it, just continuing, but now I'm trying to take that time to really analyze and see, okay, what can I do from this time? And each time I analyze myself, I get closer to where I want to be.
Yeah.
Because I already told myself, all I need is one. You know what I mean? All I need is one, and it's going to be up from there. So, yeah, I feel like, my advice to anyone is, like when you're stuck, always look and analyze on why you might be stuck. Because if you overlook things, those things you overlook can be the reason why you are where you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now, but I know I'll be good.
Thanks for sharing. Rochelle, did you want to go next? Sorry, kind of had. Both y'all, you're muted. You're still muted.
Okay, there we go.
There you
Sorry,
go.
I'm muted. Um, no, with feeling stuck, it's definitely in this business for sure. It's like because I mean there's such a blueprint, so it's not I can't say like, oh, there's no way to get it done. Like the things are there. It's just really balancing life and the necessity, and then being able to kind of separate myself, my needs, my like what's going on from the needs of clients and like learning something new. Like I'm a person that like doesn't like to not be good at something. Um and I think the point that I've gotten to is where I fully believe if I keep charging full speed ahead, I will see the success I want to see. It's like I've seen glimpses of it, but then it's like I think I wanted to come in and like skyrocket into like super production and super success and like all of the sales, all of the, money and like just life changing success. And I know that life doesn't really happen that way. So um it's definitely a mindset thing. It's definitely a confidence thing of like needing to get that confidence boost and sticking through the frustration and the sucky part long enough to actually get there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's kind of like the worst part about feeling stuck is feeling like you should be somewhere else. Like when I think about being stuck in traffic, it's always that you want to be somewhere else. Like when you got nowhere to go and you're stuck in traffic, you're like, whatever, I'm just driving around. But there's nothing worse than wanting to be somewhere else and then feeling stuck behind it. Or like when you're in the grocery store and you're like, I'm just ready to get home. Like, I don't want to be here, but I gotta be here. And then you get stuck behind the slowest cash register in the world. And you're just like, you have 10 items. How is it taking us 45 minutes? Or like they're counting change. And you're like, nobody uses pennies. Like, why do you have pennies here? Like, use your card. But I think that's one of the hardest part is feeling stuck. Is because we know that in a part of us that we want to be somewhere else and it doesn't feel like it's happening fast enough. It never feels like it's happening fast enough. Even when you're stuck in traffic, it's not that long. It always just feels like, am I going to get there in time? What does that happen? But the thing about being stuck is no matter how stuck you are, you can always get unstuck, but it usually requires us to do something different. But I think there's something important to talk about, which is are you stuck or are you scaling? Because sometimes you can think you're stuck, but you're scaling. And sometimes you think you're scaling, but you're actually stuck. So I wanted to kind of talk through, and scaling just more means like scaling up, like slowly growing. It could mean like taking that next level. So for scaling, how do you know you're scaling? If you're scaling, maybe there's discomfort, but there's joy because it feels slow, then it also feels all of a sudden. That first appointment, booking it may have felt so slow. I'm never going to get this first appointment. And then you book one and then you get five more and you're like, oh my gosh, I literally have, like Dorian, I have six appointments. But then you feel like, but it's not happening fast enough. It's slow and then it's all of the sudden. But there's in that discomfort, there's still joy because you know I'm making progress. Before I used to get hung up on this point, and now somebody's letting me get all their health info. Before I used to ask for the social and then I got declined. And so you start seeing these slow little growths. It's slow and then all of a sudden it's the micro and macro progressions. But how do you know you're stuck? You're stuck when it feels like you're just pushing a boulder up the hill, but it's never moving. There's discomfort and there's dissatisfaction. It's an off again, on again. One day you feel on fire and one day you feel so cold. There's not a consistency, and it kind of just feels like you're in the exact same place over and over again. And every step you take, it's like being quicksand. You're moving and moving, and you feel like you're sinking deeper and deeper. And I do believe sometimes stuck can be more of our head space, but I also do think that, when we're stuck, the ways that we get unstuck is we first have to realize it. And that's why I said you can either be stuck or you can be scaling, and you can be stuck and scaling in different parts of life. It doesn't mean you have to be completely stuck in one area and scaling in one. But how do you get unstuck? So I think the first step to realize is you have to realize that you are, in fact, stuck. It's hard to know something's off if you don't actually recognize it yourself. So I know that kind of a lot of us have expressed that in different areas of our life we have felt stuck or we do feel stuck. So how do we get unstuck? And this can be kind of open dialogue. What are areas for you that, it doesn't even have to be in symmetry, it could just be in life. Like when you feel stuck, what helps you get feeling unstuck? I know for me, when I'm not working out or I'm not moving my body, I feel very stuck. Just in a mindset, I can feel stuck in life. But when I start consistently being at the gym, if I'm consistently running, doing things that bring me that joy, mentally, I feel less stuck. So, what are things for y'all that you feel like it just helps me get unstuck when I feel like I'm in a sucky season or I'm just kind of stuck right now? What are things for each of y'all that you feel like help you with that?
Um, for me, I'd say what you said, like the gym. Like I feel like that's what's been keeping me from not seeing my whole process as negative. You know what I mean? Because the gym generally brings me joy because it like any stress. Because my day usually goes, I wake up, you know, I watch my sermon and then I get ready, you know what I mean, for my day, you know what I mean, I eat and then I make calls in the afternoon. After I make calls, I go to the gym. The reason why I did it that way is because if I go to the gym, then make calls, I have nothing to fall back on if the day goes good or bad. You know what I mean? So when I go to the gym, I release all the objections. I release all the I'll call you back. So I release all those things at the gym. And then it gives me hope for the next day. Because you know what? Okay, at the end of the day, you know, you did something. You called. At least you called, you know. And when I go to the gym, it really emphasizes like, you know what? I called. After calming down, after releasing all my stress on the weights, I'm like, you know what? I called. You know what I mean? Or you know what? I set an appointment. Or you know what? I was able to get on the phone with them, talk about through awesome options through them, and then I was dealing with all the objections I could, and they just couldn't go through, you know? So for me, whenever I'm feeling stuck, I feel like I have to be some type of active. Because then, if I'm just sitting at home and not doing anything and just dealing with the fact that I was getting hung up on all day, then I'm gonna feel like I'm just gonna feel stuck. I'm not gonna want to do anything. And then when it comes for me to make calls tomorrow, I'm gonna think about the past. But the gym allows me to not think about the past, to always think about the future because the weight that you could push, this week and the weight you could push in 2 weeks all depends on how often are you going. So my success in this business, if I'm making this amount of calls this week, if I'm doing this every day, give me a couple months, you know what I mean, or a couple weeks, whatever the timing may be, I'll be doing way more. So that's what I do when I'm stuck.
Yeah, that's good. What about anyone else? The mainly gym.
I'll
What
go.
about you?
Yeah, so for me, it's more so like a mental thing. It's just knowing it's just one of those days or one of those weeks, really. It's more so a temporary situation. I try not to dwell on it, regardless of what's going on. I mean, same. I try to dial on like personal. I don't have like a lot of time just with what I do in personal life. So I try to get on the calls and dial on Fridays. But same, I've had a few appointments set, not nothing sales wise, but I just know that, hey, it's really a part of the process as well. And
Yeah.
it still bridges that gap where I'm at right now and the direction I'm trying to go. Because I could be at the point where I'm still like watching videos and still like, just not getting my license and all, but I'm like, beyond that point, I'm now able to make calls, now able to get an appointment set. So it's just mentally for me, it's just accepting what it is and just not trying to like, dwell in it or let it hold me back. It's just more so, hey, it's just one of those weeks and we'll make up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else? And that helps you. I know for me, I really feel like whenever you get stuck, I always think about that, but whenever I feel stuck, where I don't remember who said it. I think it's like no, it's Einstein. I was like, it's not Eisenhower, but he said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. I always feel like whenever you want to get to that next level, it does require you to do a level of, it requires you to do something different to transform to have a different outcome. I think there's our daily disciplines that we need to keep up with. But I also do believe that sometimes when we want to get to that new level, we want to get past being stuck in something. And when we get to that level where we have to do, it does require us to do different things. But I think also it doesn't always mean that we need to completely just work harder. Sometimes it is doing something different. And it's what are we feeding ourselves differently, you know? Because being stuck can also feel like a mindset. You could do 100 dials, but you feel completely trapped in that 100 dials. And you don't feel like you did anything. You can do all the work you want, and if you don't feel like you're getting the outcome you want, you can feel trapped. But I think it does require us to do some things different. So I think I put some things to do. Like when you feel stuck, you got to do whatever it takes to get unstuck because you don't really know what's going to help. Have y'all ever been stuck kind of in a car, like when it's stuck on like in mud? Sometimes it works when you put the gas a certain way. Sometimes you got to put planks. Sometimes you got to have everybody pushing the car out. Sometimes you got to leave that thing and come get it another day when it's not all raining. Every time it's different. As you can tell, I've been stuck a few times in the backwoods. But what I want to say is sometimes it does require us to do whatever it takes to get unstuck, but I don't think that there's just one thing that you can do. I don't think there's a secret formula, but I do think there's a lot of great things that can help. And one of those things I think is reading. Reading is one of those ways that we can read about maybe a story of an entrepreneur. We can read about things that can help us. One book I'm reading right now is called The Gap and the Gain. It's about enjoying while you're in the gap and also realizing that there's so much that you're gaining. Because at the end of the day, there's always another level. There's always another area to get higher. But if I can't enjoy the gain that we're in, like Dorian, you set an appointment. There's people that have been here and they feel like they still struggle setting appointments, and you set six in your first week. That's the gain. The gap is I didn't make a sale though, but choosing to learn to live in the gain, that's something I'm working on because I have a habit just like you. I'm never satisfied sometimes. Oh, I only sold this many, not this many. I wish I would have done this. But it's always an ever changing cycle. So I think one thing you can do to help you get unstuck is read. And I love what someone told me, which they said, if you don't feel like it's speaking to you, put it down and grab a new book. You know what? If you feel stuck and the book you're reading isn't inspiring you, put it down and grab a new book. You don't know what you may need. Maybe you do need just motivation. Maybe you need leadership. Maybe you need sales coaching. Maybe you just need somebody to tell you, hey, you need to learn to be happy in the middle. That's what I need. That reading that book's the hardest book to read because it's always speaking to me. So one of those things that can help you get unstuck is reading. The next thing I put is association. So association is one of our cornerstones at Symmetry. And the sole reason for that is when you're around the right people, you're going to start catching on to the right things. They say that you're the sum of the five closest people you're around. And I know for me, when I'm around people that are discouraged, when I'm around people that are down, that are always like, well, this sucks. The leads suck. Nothing's going to get better. This is just how it is. That's how I'm going to think too. So sometimes it takes getting around people that are going to lift you up. People are going to say, hey, you're actually doing really amazing. Like, did you know how awesome you're doing? Like, Dorian, you should know that you're doing really awesome. Christine, you're doing really awesome. Rod, I'm always so impressed when I see you on calls because I know how busy your schedule is. And you're always there. You're doing awesome. Every single person on this call is. But sometimes it means you need to get around the people that are saying, hey, you're doing awesome. Can I help you with anything? Or, hey, I noticed that you've been in accountability and you're putting your numbers in. Could I maybe give you some help, like with this one area? You don't know what somebody could unlock, but sometimes we're not in the right rooms. And so we don't get to hear the right things and we don't get to be around the right people that could tell us something that could transform our business. But when you're around people that are constantly telling you about what this business could do, it helps you push through the suck. I often know that whenever I feel like this business is so heavy and it's like, why am I doing this? It's probably because I haven't spent time or I haven't been filling myself with the belief of those who have made it into the areas I want to. That's why I talk about Scott's story so much. If you ever meet with me, I'm always like, well, Scott and Kate, 3 years, then they started making 50K passively a month. I always tell that story because I need to remind myself of that story. Because when I'm in the 5K, 10K, whatever K month, I'm thinking about the 50K month I want. And I can see somebody who has it and I know it's possible. But getting around people that are saying that, like, hey, I understand it's sucky right now, but if you only knew what could be out there, if you only knew what how rich this business is, if you only knew how much money there is here, you would push through all of this. But if you're not around the people that are winning, it's easy to think like a loser because you're only hanging out with the losers. But when you go hang out with the winners, you get to be like, oh my gosh. And I don't mean that loser in a bad way. I'm just more saying like loser in a sense you're not winning in this business. But it's so much better when you're around the people that are because you get that life. And then you know what, Rod, for you, it's hey, I don't have much time, but when I have that time, I'm gonna dial. Or you know what, maybe I need to restructure the way I want to look at this. Do I want to just like I know sales? Do I want to, maybe for you it's hey, I'm gonna get on Scott's calendar because you know what? This guy lives pretty much the same life I live, part-time, and then went full-time. Maybe I can tweak things. Maybe he has some insight. Who knows what it is? But when you get around the right people can pour life into you, but also they bring you up. If you're around people who believe in you and believe in this and believe in what it could do for you specifically, it's easy to get unstuck and it's easy to feel unstuck because you have someone that says, oh my gosh, if you knew the vision, what I could see for you, like when I think of Christine, she already almost was an agency owner. I could easily see her being an agency owner here. She's so professional. I could see her being one of those people that writes all the giant annuities people do. I could see Christine doing that because she's so smart. She knows so much. Every single person on this call. Michael is so awesome, and we've talked a few times, but he is tenacious. I talked to Scott about him, and he is always Scott said that he was one of the hardest workers when he wrestled with Scott. Scott was his wrestling coach. And I think about who Michael could be, that he could be retired in his 30s. Same with Lala, same with Rochelle, same with all of us. I think about all those things what you could become here if you went through the process. But sometimes when we're stuck, we just need somebody to say, hey, guess what this could look like for you? Let me pour some belief into you. Let me come in the mud and push your car out of the stuck because there's more. There's a road ahead and you need to be on it because it's awesome. So that next thing I would say is association. And then I would say D, coaching. And coaching doesn't have to be coaching with me, doesn't have to be coaching with Scott. Any of y'all need help? I'm always happy to help. I'm always excited to be on to connect with either of y'all. But coaching is also what are you listening to? When I was new here and I was sucking, and I feel like sometimes y'all forget that I was really, really bad. Like I was worse than every single one of y'all. Like, and I don't mean that to brag. I'm just saying like I was way, 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 way worse. Like I did 4,000 dials my first month, and I set 80 appointments, and I only sold one, and she got declined, so I didn't get paid for it. One. I ran 25 appointments, Dorian. And 4,000 dials, that doesn't sound like a lot of work, but do you know that they say you only can do about 35 dials in an hour? Like, I'm about to do some math. I did 114 hours of dialing and I didn't even make $1,000 that month. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm more saying that to say that I remember what it felt like to suck and to be stuck and to be like, this is the absolute worst. And after I would go to the gym or I'd go on a walk or I'd go on a run and I would put on sales training. I would put on my headphones. Insurance Isn't Boring. That's a podcast. It's a really good one. I'd put on YouTube videos about life insurance training. I would listen to old replays of Scott's team's call because I knew that if I wanted to get better, because I sucked so much, I really needed to work on this outside of this, but also it was nobody's responsibility to get me to where I wanted to go. And that maybe I needed more work and more skill, and I needed to find that. I needed to listen to it, do whatever it took because I knew I wanted this. And I didn't want to be stuck in 4,000 dial land. It's the worst place ever. It hurts your brain. I used to be 1,000 dial a week to barely make a sale. I get it. It sucked so much, but it got me where I needed to go. But outside, I wasn't just doing that 4,000 dials for nothing. I was doing it mixed with coaching. So I knew every little step I was getting better. That I was listening to so many people dial that I was like, ooh, when I dial, it sounds rough. Or I'd live dial and somebody would say, hey, that actually sounded really rough. Can I give you coaching? And I'm like, please, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Gladly. That's why I'm dialing in front of everyone. I need the help. I need the feedback. And so coaching is one of our most valuable friends, and that can help us get unstuck because you don't know what minor tweak could say, hey, if you pump the gas a little and move your wheel this way, you'll be clear in no time. Hey, like whenever you say, hey, I'm calling for this person, and you take that long pause, that's the one spot they hang up on you. Just read through it and go to the next paragraph and trust. And it's those minor shifts that you don't know until you're getting coaching, but you're also inviting people in to get coaching, inviting people in to tweak that, saying, hey, I'm coachable. Because a lot of people say they're coachable, but it's always, yeah, that sounds great, but and the but's always but I don't want to do what you're gonna say because I don't want to. And we've all been there. I've been there, but if you want to get unstuck, getting coaching is one of the most powerful things. And then my next to second to last point is personal development. One of those things is I think when we're stuck, it's easy to fall into other bad habits. Staying up late, watching Netflix, eating unhealthy food, skipping the gym, vegging out on social media. It's easy when we feel stuck in one area to then put ourselves stuck in the other areas. To say, you know what, I'm already in the mud. I don't even want to bother fighting it. Let's just sit in it. But one way to get out of that is those personal development, those personal habits. And they're awesome ways to help out. And then the last thing, if you want to get unstuck, is just doing the work. At the end of the day, you can read all the books, you can listen to every single coaching, you can associate with everybody. But if you're not willing to do the work to get yourself unstuck, if you're not willing to put in the effort, you're going to stay stuck because you can have all the tools, but if you don't use them, it doesn't help. And, getting unstuck requires us sometimes to get a little uncomfortable. When I still live out and I'm still uncomfortable. I lived out every week in front of everyone. And I lived out with three of my friends and I hate it every time. It's my least favorite activity I do this week. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. Dialing in front of everyone isn't the most comfortable thing, but I know it helps me get better. I know other people, when I get yelled at on a call and everyone gets to listen, it makes them feel better. It helps them get unstuck. But it requires us to get uncomfortable if we want to get to that next level. And whenever I think about being stuck, I always think about this story. It's God, I think, talked about it on a team call, but it's a story about this gold miner. I think it was in the 1950s, whenever I guess people were doing it. There was this guy who was mining in this field, and he mined and mined and mined and mined, and nothing happened. They didn't catch gold. They said this was one of the most profitable areas. And then he ended up just being done with it. He did it for a few years of his life, and he was basically digging, trying to get through it. The guy who he bought the lease from said it was a very profitable piece of land. And you can kind of see gold veins, like they say that you can see it whenever you're looking for gold. So the gold was somewhere in this lease. This guy just could not find it. So he got done. He was done with it. And he ended up just saying, hey, I've been digging for a while, calling it quits. He sold his lease. And then the guy who actually bought the home right after, who bought the kind of lease to dig right after, a few months later, this guy got gold. And obviously, the original guy was like, what the heck? I've been digging this lease for years. He was 6 inches away from the gold pocket, 6 inches away from millions of dollars. Because that other guy, he didn't necessarily do all the work, but he got to see the reward of it because he kept digging until. When you're stuck, it's easy to feel stuck and want to throw in the towel. But that's where you have to remind yourself of what this could be for you. Because if you're stuck, it's easy to get stuck and it's easy to stay there and just live there and be done there. We've all seen things abandoned. It's easy to go from stuck to abandoned and to abandon this dream and abandon this opportunity. But the only way you're going to be willing to put in the work to get unstuck is when you can find what this is to you and the reason you want to fight through and the reason you want to get out of the mud and the reason you want to see this work. And the cool thing is each of us have a story. And I know we kind of talked about this a little bit last call, but I kind of wanted to give us time for each of us to maybe share a little bit why we're doing this. Because, we may know why, but when we share it with someone else, it becomes a little bit more real. When you share your dream, it no longer feels like a dream, it kind of feels like a plan. And so if you're comfortable, you can totally share. I can go first. Whenever I quit my job at State Farm to come here, I was really tired of feeling capped by everybody else. I always felt capped at different jobs. Like I could do all this work, but my income never changed. I never really could do what I wanted to do. And when I came here, I really wanted to pay off debt. I wanted to be able to make more money. And I wanted to be able to be in charge of my own income, be in charge of my own business. And I wanted to be able to say, like, hey, if we want to bless somebody, we could. But really, I was looking for something that I wasn't going to be capped anymore. I spent so many years of my life feeling capped by so many different things, by so many job opportunities. I just wanted somewhere I could fly and soar. And the money, if the money was with it, that was going to be good too. But I really wanted something to sink my teeth into. That's why I came to Symmetry. I wanted somewhere that would reward me for my work. And I'll tell you, I've definitely gotten to see that. It's really fun. But that's a little bit why I came to Symmetry. And that's part of my why, is I want to see that and I want to see other people feel that way. What about anybody else? What's a little bit of kind of your why of why you kind of chose to go into life insurance sales, chose to build something?
I'll go again. So it starts back when I was like 17. So right before I turned 18, my senior year of high school. And, I already knew basketball for me was done. I played private school basketball my junior year, but after that, I was done. I knew I was done. So then, right, I was going through things. I was like, what do I want for my life? What do I want to be? This, that, and the third. I'm gonna be honest with you. Me going to med school was not one of the first things I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to be financially free without having to go through all of that. You know what I mean? So then I was like, So then I was searching up things. I was like, how can you make money? How can you make money? I'm on TikTok and I see a guy that just said that he made like $6,000 in one day. I'm like, $6,000 in one day, like that's good money for my age. That's good money. So I was like, I look, and then it says life insurance. I was like, So before I was with Symmetry, before I am here now, when I was 18, I was working with Affleck. So I got my license. I did all that while finishing my school year and trying to graduate. I did all that, right? And I will never forget when I passed my test, I told myself, this is the first step to success, right? And then I got into it and I was like, yo, what is this? Like, what is this? So it wasn't the way how it is built, like how it is set up in Symmetry. No, no, no. I was doing door to door and I wasn't selling individual policies. I was selling group insurance, like for jobs and stuff like that, right? So and this was right before I went off to college in Maryland. So after that, I'm like, you know what, bro? Forget this, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna get the degree, bro. Forget this. I was 18 at the time. So 20 years old now, so 2 years passed. I want to say it was June, right? Came down for my sister's graduation, you know, and at that time, because I still have that same job, right? I'm an RBT. Like outside of this, I'm an RBT. I work with kids with autism, right? And it's a job I like the job because it ties hand in hand in what I want to do with helping people. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be like that type of doctor, but it ties hand in hand with patient care, right? And I get paid a good amount, like $30 an hour, and um, but I have a lot of bills. I don't live with my parents, so I have a lot of bills. So I wanted to be able to get my sister something for her graduation, a MacBook, but I couldn't. And it really hurt me that I couldn't. So then I come back after the graduation, and my friend calls me. He's like, "Yo, Dorian." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "You see your boy Adrian, right? He just did 200K in life insurance last month." I said, "He did what?" I go see. I go see. He did do it. And then not only did after he did it, he posted himself buying a Rolex right after. I was like, good God, bro. I was like, and mind you, what's crazy is in my town, I was the first person in the school to get their license and to pass the test first try. He was asking me for advice. And it's crazy how the person that was asking me for advice is the same person that ended up being successful in the business. So I was like, yo, I was like, he's like, why don't you do it? I was like, bro, I already tried. And he's like, okay, why don't you try again? I was like, you're right. So I really sat. So I sat back. I thought about it. I'm like, okay, look, I prayed for God to build me into the man that could be able to provide for his church, his family, and his community, right? And I was like, okay, he didn't call me for no reason because he's not the only person that tried to get me back into it. He's not. Everyone's been, you still got your license? Yeah, but I don't use it. And then I switched the topic and then boom. But him I listened to. So I was like, you know what? Who knows? I'm gonna try this. And when I try this, if it's for me, it will work out. If I put in the work and if I'm consistent, because the Bible says if we stay disciplined, right, during the harvest, right, we'll reap it when it's time. So I told myself, I was like, look, I want to be a physician, but I want to be able to not have to worry about loans. I want to be able to continue to build, not in just that aspect, but in another aspect. So when its time comes, not only have I built myself intellectually with my degree and all that, I have built myself as a businessman as well. So I was like, you know what? Boom. So now I'm searching for insurance companies. I'm searching for insurance companies, and I applied to like 10 of them, right? All 10 of them got back to me. But my first interview was with Symmetry. And then I was with Scott and Sabina on the call. So they're talking to me, and Scott's like, what's up, bro? I was like, yo, like, this guy's very friendly. Like, these people are very friendly. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, you know what? Like, and I'm the type of person where I am very outgoing, but I have to be shown that I could be outgoing without it being a problem. Because I have like a double sword to myself. If I see that nobody likes to talk, I'm not gonna force nobody to talk. But if I see someone likes to talk, I'll talk. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it was. So I was like, I like this. You know what I mean? And then I was like, you know what? This is what we're going with. So boom, go
Oh,
with it, go with it. And then now it's like I'm here. And I'm gonna be honest, it's like as I got into insurance, like seriously and making these calls, the person I was before insurance, I'm gonna be honest, is not the person I am now because it has taught me to actually be disciplined, to be consistent, and to understand that bad days are gonna happen. Because a lot of the times in my life, when bad days happened, I was so confused and I was wondering on why it happened. But now I see that these days happen, so when the good days come, they feel good. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit. That's I'll say majority of how I got into this, and I'm very happy that you guys took me on, and I'm really excited to see what's in store for me.
Totally. Anybody else? Maybe one or two more people? Kind of like 1 to 2 minute. Keep it so we can have more people. But Dorian, that was awesome. I love your story. Anybody else? Go.
Hey, wait,
Hey, Amaru.
Michelle, Mark, me. Hi guys, how are you? So I was gonna
Hey.
say, um, I got into this for similar reasons as like you guys, just kind of wanting autonomy over my life, myself, not wanting to like be under people. I'm a educator like every day, and I want to build something that's mine, and be able to like give back in the way that I want to. I feel like a lot of education is usually governed, but I love it. So like I love teaching and I'm like, well, how am I going to do it? Where am I going to make it? I need the money, I need the resources. And so that's why it was like an escape. Um, but I'm kind of slowly reframing my mind and seeing it as something as like an opportunity that can just be more than just an escape, you know? Um, but yeah, that's why I got into it and I'm gonna stay in it, Savina.
Whoa.
Savina. I've been saying that because like I've been trying to run away and I'm here. I'm here. I was a little late, but I'm here. And then I appreciate you guys sharing your stories. I really enjoyed your story.
Yeah. Thank you, Amaru. That was awesome. Amaru's awesome. She's very, very smart. Anybody else? 1 to 2 more. We got till 7:30.
I'll go real
Rod.
quick. So for me, more so, it's like, in my family, I'm kind of like the backbone, not just, partner and kids, like my mom, sister, cousins, etc. And I'm the person they call when in need or in doubt or anything. So, I've always been like their support system in any any degree whatsoever. So I think more so for me, it's just like want to do more for them and the people around me, not just myself. Because again, getting to a point in life where like everything's fine, but it's just more so I understand the impact I have in everyone else around me, and how much they rely on me. It's like how much more opportunities can I, uh, 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 grant for them? How many can I put them in a better position, et cetera? Can I do more for them when they need me? So I think that's the biggest motivator in my life. A lot of times, like you mentioned being stuck. It's like whenever I get to that point mentally, I think about, you know, if I quit this right now, sure, but there's everyone else that it affects. So that's really it for me. It's just everyone that relies on me personally. So
Good. Rochelle, you get to go next. We've been skipping you.
No worries. I have say maybe like two or three reasons. One of them, my best friend Latonia, like I just remember, like I've known her for like 16, 17 years now, and known her traditionally just to be a hustler and also to be an actor, voiceover artist. And so seeing her switch and see her success, she never came to me and told me about it or asked me for anything or asked me to join, or asked me to be part of it. I just was seeing her talking about it, loving it, and I would ask her about it. And after the second time, I was like, tell me more about this, because I could just see how she enjoyed the team. She enjoyed the accountability. She enjoyed the encouragement. And I could see how our personal conversations were changing because the accountability was like sinking in and like kind of transforming how she moved in a lot of personal ways. And so for me, that was really inspiring. Um, Personally, I mean, I've been a marketer and in marketing for 15, 16 years doing event marketing, things like that. Lost my job here, like 4 months after moving to a whole new city and state by myself, and had been looking for work at this point, like it was 15, 16 months. And it was just really frustrating, like getting told no so often. And so now I'm still getting told no often, but it's okay. It was frustrating, and I really just got very discouraged, and kind of stopped looking. And so in that moment when I had seen a similar story to my friend who, lost a job, was looking into doing like, what can I do to make it? How can I make something move? And then she found success and, felt like one thing she said to me that really stuck out was, I was just tired of losing. And I felt like here I was finally in a place where I was winning. So those are my reasons.
I love that. So sweet. Anybody else? One or two?
Well, I'll cherry on top it. Sorry, my camera's off. I'm journeying right now. I just acquired raw milk for the first time. But I got into this completely by accident. I was actually going into bartending, and one of my close friends at the time was like, get into sales, get into sales, get into sales. You'd be great at that. I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm never doing that ever. And at one point, finding a job, super fun, as we know, had been a month. And it just kept knocking on my door. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll try it. And I mean, we've all seen it. Once you make $1,000 in an hour from a park, you don't ever want to really do anything else. And then of course the passive income, the building. And ultimately, nobody wakes up and says, I would love to be a life insurance agent. This is what I'll do with the rest of my life. But I think that it's such a wonderful opportunity. And a lot of people that I talk to, it's a way to make sure that you're safe, you're secure, your family's secure, and it gives you all the time and the freedom to work on your dreams, work on your career. Like Rob was saying, all of us are here. This probably isn't the dream of your life. Latonia wants to be an actress. I want to chase after music, but it is one hell of a foundation. So I won't be leaving anytime soon. And that's all I got.
Michael, you want to bring us home? You on audio? I don't think this kid's on audio.
Can you hear me?
Nope, now we can. Yeah, we couldn't hear you before.
We're talking about our journey, correct?
Yeah,
So,
like why, like kind of what has us wanting to be here. Yeah.
Um, honestly, I kind of so my grandmother passed away, and this is kind of crazy that all this stuff happened. Is like I want to find a way to like make money, and like I saw Scott what Scott was doing, and he was like very successful, and like we'd be on the back of the bus of the wrestling bus. We're like, yo, wait, what the heck? Like, because Scott was um, brand new to the wrestling room. It was his first year. It was my junior year, and it was his first year as a coach. We're like, oh my god, this guy's a stud. Like what? Like he's jacked, you know. Like he's got transformation photos of when he was bigger, and then now he's jacked, and then like look at all the money he's making and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then so I wanted to figure out ways to make money because like school was just not for me. I was an athlete, and like I love the game of lacrosse, but then it gets to a point where it's like it's not going to pay my bills, you know? So, um, I wanted to figure out ways to make money, and my parents would always be in my ear, like, you know, Mike, you should be a salesman. Mike, you should be a salesman, da 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 da. And my grandma would actually tell me that. She's like, Michael, you know, you'd be really good at sales. And I'm like, yeah, want to know what? I'm not good at school, so maybe I'm good at one thing. So maybe I'll try sales. So that's why I'm here. And my grandma wasn't covered at all, no life insurance policy at all. So it was like that was just crazy, you know? Like, and then so now I just kind of want to get people covered. That's the goal.
Hey, that's awesome. We're excited to have you here. You're gonna
Excited to
come in and
be here.
crush it. Yeah. Well, thanks for everyone for sharing your stories. And if you didn't get a chance to share and you want to, send us a text, send it in the Slack channel. But what we do is really awesome and it's really cool. But I think it's really cool to hear y'all's why, because I think when we hear each other's why, it can help us, one, help each other get unstuck. But two, it becomes like a dream. It becomes something when we say it out loud, it reinforces in us that why. And I'm really excited about where this team's going. I mean, we did more than some agency owners last month, which I think is crazy. And every single person played a part in that. And what I think is really cool about this team is that I don't just see this team as just these people. I think about all the people you know that are looking for the same thing you saw when you saw it here. And what's cool about that is there's people that you know that are looking for an opportunity like this. And it's going to be cool to see all different circles of people come in from the people in this room, and it's just sharing your story. I know I've mainly only gotten people on my team from TikTok, and a lot of people always ask why. Well, my TikToks aren't very good. So if you ever watch them, you're going to be like, this is not very impressive. But I think it's just sharing your story. The why is more important than than anything else. It's just, I'm excited and I love this, and I really believe this could change someone's life because it's changing mine. Me and Christian have gotten to see so much income differences. That's been really cool. But I think the coolest part has really been the change that I've seen in my own life. I stopped dreaming for a long time, and now I feel like I'm dreaming again of what's next, of what the future could look like. And what's cool about this place is it really does, I feel like, ignite the things in your heart. And for each of us, it's different. And that's something beautiful. I love that each of our goals of this are different, but we all get to be on the same journey together. So let's lock arms. Let's go for it. And you know what? Let's not miss gold by 6 inches. Let's not miss what this could be for us by 6 inches. And if you feel stuck, you can connect with me. You can connect with Scott. You can connect with any of the leaders on our team or anyone on this team. We'd love to help you. But let's go after it together. Let's see what could happen. Like I said, if you're stuck, you got to do anything you can do to get unstuck and kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what works. But if you feel stuck, you don't have to be stuck alone. You have people that are in your corner that will get out of the car and get in the mud and push it out. If you've never been stuck in the mud, you know it's disgusting. It's the worst having to push a car out of the mud. But I love everybody on this call. I'm so excited. Um, our next call is going to be in 2 weeks. We have Nick Rosenberg. He's going to be talking about production. You don't know who Nick Rosenberg was. He's been here 3 months and he did 54K last month. He came, Rod, a lot like you. He came from a sports dealership. So kind of impressive. Literally only been here 3 months and he beat every single person on the leaderboard. Um, and he issued like 40K of it. So he's going to come on, share a little bit what he's been doing. I thought it'd be really cool because Nick is also one of the most humble people. When you talk to him, he keeps it really simple. But next call, come ready with questions and notebook. It's going to be more production heavy, a little less mindset. But I hope that's okay with y'all. I figured he's one of our up and coming. I would want him to come and talk to us, and hopefully we can all learn something, make more money in our pockets. But love y'all. Can't wait. If you need anything, shoot me a text, shoot me a Slack message, whatever it is. But I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, y'all.